Hello and welcome to today's episode of the LBL podcast. I just want to start by saying a massive thank you to everyone who is continuing to share this podcast. That's all we ask, I bring so much wisdom and value and tips and tricks and all of those wonderful things to this podcast. So I am massively appreciative of you guys taking the time to share it with a friend, because if you think about it, how did you hear about it? How much does it help you to kind of sift through all the shit that's out there in society about dieting or even just living a healthy life, So how it's helped you, you can literally empower someone else the same way. So thank you to everyone who shared. And if you haven't yet shared, if you haven't yet reviewed, I would massively appreciate you taking just 2 minutes out of your day to do so. So I'm actually doing a slightly different take on podcast today because over the past probably like 8 weeks, and I'd actually love if you're the type of person who's willing to share feedback, I'd love to know your thoughts on this, because I have really focused on giving you tips and tricks over the past 8 weeks and thinking like, what are they struggling with? How can I help them in regards to like losing weight, getting fit, healthy kind of like lifestyle implementation? And I love talking about that. But actually, I'm a really deep philosophical kind of thinker. And I'm not really like, I do care about the nitty gritty and the kind of like small detail to a degree, but I'm very much a visionary type person. So actually, this is being recorded in my current apartment in Dubai, and I'm sat down. So it's not always, unless I'm in a studio, that I'll sit down. Like I quite like to stand up for podcasts. But today I was like, actually, I want to do one from the heart. I really want to talk to you guys today about things that mean a lot to me. Because I think it'll be a nice way to balance things out a little bit after constantly like, do this, do that, try this, blah, blah, blah. Which I think people need. But actually, like, if you are really looking for a journey of change and you haven't done it to date with the information that you've got, the likelihood of you doing it just by gaining more information is slim. Now, I don't say that to be a dick or to upset you, but there's different kind of like levels when it comes to change, right? You've got, I don't have the information and I need to learn the information to then implement. So this happens to me a lot in business. So I've been in the personal training industry for 14 years, and they have never, like, all the kind of, I've done so much fucking training, so many courses, so many, absolutely. I've even been on business courses, but they've not been the same as having a mentor. So I've spent a lot of money, a lot of time investing in myself, and I'm still learning about business now because I'm learning from people who are actually like running very successful businesses. And I'm learning from those rather than, you often see what happens, not often, but sometimes you see like coaches who can't get results with clients, but think they know how to run a business, but don't actually do anything with their own business. So then they start a coaching, coaching mentor group. And I'm like, fucking hell, like, I personally think like when we go to hire mentors, we need to hire someone who is walking the walk or elements of the walk that we want to walk, or they are helping a significant amount of people to walk the walk. So if I was looking to lose weight, I would be looking at someone who's in shape. If I was looking at someone, if I was wanting to kind of like step out of like constantly living in my head and being under so much stress and pressure, I'd be looking at someone who's got freedom and who's got their ducks in a row and who looks organized and structured and manages stress well. And that's, the same with this recent business mentor that I've hired. Like, he has been in the coaching industry a long, 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 long time. All of the coaches, so he's got performance coaches that work for him. All of those have got successful coaching businesses. And I was just like, I like his style. I love his values. I love his sincerity when he talks. So I want to learn from him. I want to learn some of his skills. And so I went off, just realized that I've gone off on a massive tangent there. So back to the fucking point, Sasha, is you've got more information. So with me, with business, right? Like there are certain things that I don't know about. So like, what was I listening to the other day? It was something to do with like, it's abbreviated, but I've forgotten it. This is how well I'm learning. It's to do with like cost per acquisition, like all these fancy numbers. Like I don't do ads, so I don't understand it, but it's good to like kind of know it and to understand it. So I'm learning about all of that information, and then when and if the time is right, I will then implement it. So that is one type of learning. Then you've got the other type of learning, which is I actually know what I need to do. So for fat loss, for example, I know I need to incorporate movement into my day to day. I know I need to eat a bit less because I'm wanting to lose weight. So I've got to create a deficit. And I know I've got to manage my emotions when it comes to stress. So that could be writing it down, going for a walk, talking to a friend, yada, yada, yada. But I'm not doing it. That's the difference. And you've got needing info was one with me and my mentor. And number two is behavior change coaching. And if I'm completely frank with you now, the majority of people who speak to me, who come to my free webinars, who listen to my podcasts, who are on every single post, like look at my stories within minutes of me putting them up, they need behavior change coaching. They need someone to step in to help them to figure out how to implement this into their life. Because you don't go to a university for life, right? You don't go to uni to learn how to put yourself first, how to regulate your emotions, how to eat in a healthy way. I mean, there's so much fucking contradicting advice out there, isn't there? Like everyone is just so confused. So just consider that, okay, wherever you're at today, like some of you listening to this will be in the coaching club. And maybe you've got a friend who's in a similar boat and you know that he needs more than just more information. Imagine if you could be the friend that said it in a way that's respectful and was like, this girl knows what she's talking about. She talks about the difference between more information and behavior change. I think you'd like it. Give it a listen. Or I've got my opinion of it. Can you let me know what you think if you don't want to be too direct? So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is expectations. And I do speak to you guys about this quite a lot, but I just wanted to kind of pull it back into talking about myself. Like today is going to be all about me. So if you don't like that, then please, I'll see you next week. I think you guys like it. Like whenever I do a post on social media and it's about my life, about me, struggles that I've been through, it goes through the roof. It's absolutely mental. But if I talk about, some fitness tip, it's like, yeah, get a few people that like it. When I put a blooper out, it's a completely different story. The one I put out last week, you guys will absolutely love. If you haven't watched it already, go to either Facebook or Instagram and go check it. So expectations. So I've been in Dubai 3 weeks now, and I have really been able to push myself from a physical standpoint in regards to training since I've came out here. The gyms out here are next level. Like everything is just on steroids. And that is why I think with my beautiful ADHD brain, I love Dubai so much because everything is just so abundant. And I'm at a gym called Seven, and I just love it there. Like some people think it's really arrogant, and yeah, like it's a gym. You're gonna have arrogant people in every gym you go to. It's kind of part of the fucking furniture. But like in any situation, you can always find great people, always. And I think this is all down to perspective, right? Like if you go, oh, gyms are full of arrogant people, your brain, because of the reticular activational system, which is, I'll explain that in a second, but because of that RAS system, it's called, you are going to see more arrogant people. And it's the same as, so the reticular activational system or activating system, if you've ever said to yourself, right, I'm going to buy myself a new car, I'm going to buy myself a Mini, and then all of a sudden you start seeing Minis everywhere, that is your brain showing you more of what you're saying that you want. Okay, so if, for example, you're like, there's grumpy people everywhere, your brain likes to conform and it likes to be consistent. So it's going to show you more of those. It doesn't mean there's more popping up, but you just become more like hyper aware of those things. So yeah, I love the gym. I think it's brilliant. And I have been absolutely crushing it. I've done so many like free webinars. Like I did a webinar for a group of coaches about the roadmap that we built inside the coaching club, which is the coaching club success system. And what I did to create the success system was I basically sat down and I was like, I want to give people a framework to work through and walk through, I suppose, to get them from A to B, because lifestyle change, behavior change, it's not just like drop £3 off you go. Like, it's a lot more in depth than that. And so what I did was I started with the dream result. What do people want? What is like their absolute goal? And it's not just fucking be lighter on the scales. It's things like looking in the mirror and see like vibrancy looking back at them. It's have like the best, strongest connections with people that they love. It's live like with purpose and deal with shit well. Like, you're always going to have shit. So all these different things. So I created the end, I created the start, and then I filled in every single step in between. It took me 6 months of last year to create it. And that was right the way from the visionary thinking creative work all the way to in Bali getting a fucking moped taxi to the local podcast studio, which was about a 40-minute, well, no, was it like a 30-minute ride away, for about 3 hours a week for about 6 weeks. So it took me a lot to do, but it was amazing going in and speaking to a group of, I think it was like 30 coaches, and telling them about how I did it. And it was so ace, because I know that the success system that we've got inside CC is changing the game for a lot of the ladies that are inside the program. So it's been very busy since I've got here. Don't get me wrong, like at weekends, I've had a bit of downtime. But from last Sunday, so not yesterday, the Sunday before, depending on when you're listening to this, I was like, oh man, I actually feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends. And I was PMT, so period due within the next kind of like 5 days. And this is when my inner critic, we've actually named the inner critic inside the coaching club. Some people have their own personalized names, but we've called them Nigel. I don't know if you guys have heard of the dark wolf and the light wolf. Basically, the dark wolf is like your inner critic, and then the light wolf is your wisdom voice. So we've called them Nigel and Nessa. A lot of you are going to be listening to this like, what the fuck? And anyone who's in CC listening to this, you're going to be like, yep, we know who Nigel and Nessa are. So you have that voice inside your head that's like, you're not good enough. You need to go for a run. You should be doing this. You're such a failure. And like, for me, as I come into PMT, like, it's always louder. And this is why I wanted to talk about this today, because it's about how you manage that. Like, Sasha, even a year ago, would have been like, you said you were training today, fucking train. Like, just have some caffeine and do it. Or you said you were going to get 10,000 steps, do it. Or like, it's 8 o'clock, you can't go to bed. But actually now, like, I've massively noticed myself change over this last year. And yes, okay, I'm still learning the skill of surrender and rest. And it's fucking one that I don't find easy, but I also quite like that in a sadistic way, because I'm like, this is my challenge. And imagine when I conquer this, imagine when I can have a full week off and just not, not feel pressure, not feel stress, and just fully enjoy it. And I'm actually booking a week off soon, which is going to be, it's going to be lush. So expectations, these are, they can be like driving forces towards where you want to go. Like, I think laying out expectations can be really good, whether it be a business project or standards from yourself in regards to weight loss or performance in running, whatever. Like, it's good to have expectations. But I think with anything in life, we need to make sure that we are not caging ourselves into our words. So what I mean by that is, if you've said, I'm going to go and run 10K today, but your period bloat is horrendous, you've got a bit of a calf strain, and actually you slept like shit last night, you could always, and I would actually always recommend, just go and give it 5 minutes and just see. Flip your perspective, like we said earlier with the arrogant people in the gym. Tell yourself it's going to be good. Tell yourself you're going to go nice and light and steady, and see what happens. Because I've done that so many times on runs recently, and it's turned out to be incredible. So I think we have to challenge the narrative sometimes. We have to challenge Nigel when he's like, no, you don't want to go run today, just stay in bed. He's clearly now got that accent. So, but I do think as well, like, if you get 5 minutes into a run and you just feel shit and you're just going to hammer yourself, is it really worth it? And like, there are two parts of me on this, and I do have to battle with it myself a little bit, because sometimes I'm like, come on, fucking prove to yourself you can. And other times I'm like, nah. Like today, the day I'm recording this podcast, was written down to be a training session. But I ran 11K yesterday. I slept like shit last night. I don't know what's going on with my sleep. And I'm not going to do that to my body today. I've been for a nice walk. I'm going to go for a walk later on. Like I'll get my movement in, and I'm probably going to stretch because my calves feel like fucking boulders. But can you see how like I'm not being so strict on myself or putting myself in a horrendously tight capacity? And this is also another tricky one when it comes to expectations in regards to what you expect an outcome to be. So, for example, you're on a weight loss journey and you are hitting the macros and the calories and the steps and you're doing all the do, but you're not seeing the scales move. This is where I see so many people lose their shit. They hit the fuck it button, they self-sabotage, and they're even further away from their goals. Now, imagine if we could put the focus on the do and not the outcome. And go, if I continue doing the do, if I continue eating in this way, if I continue doing the steps, it's got to fucking come to fruition, right? Of course it has. Like, and you may need to drop calories a little bit more. There could be a few little changes that we need to make. And that's why it's really good to have an expert in your corner to know exactly what levers to pull. Because if you haven't had successful long-term weight loss, you currently don't have the evidence in yourself to trust yourself to know exactly what to do at the right moment in time. And that's why I think some people struggle and hit the fuck it button so much, because they're like, you just throw shit at a wall and hope it will stick, but it doesn't stick, or you don't give it enough time. And then you're like, oh my God, this is just not working. So I'm just going to hit the fuck it button. Don't know if that relates to anyone. I'm pretty sure it will. But imagine if we could lower our expectation at the same time as looking towards the outcome. Sorry, not the outcome, the process, not just the outcome. Keep doing the do, team. And think about why else do you want to do this? It's not all just about being lighter on the scales. You're not going to remember that when you're on your deathbed later. You're going to remember that beautiful walk that you took in the sunset, that energy that you had when your 5-year-old wanted to go for a run with you and you felt like you could keep up. You're going to remember the magic moments that actually are in the doing, not in the outcome. So I just wanted to start by talking about that. And the second thing that I want to discuss today is why I created CC. Now, before you go fucking hell boring, like business sell point, this is not a sell point. And when the first Sunday I got here, I did an impromptu live in Coaching Club on a Sunday morning. And I can't remember what the topic was about, but we basically got onto this and I actually started crying. I don't know why. I'm happy to share it, like if I can find out why I actually cried. But it was a cry of like realization and pride. And although like I am all about empowerment, right? I truly believe that possibilities are endless. And that's another reason why I've hired this mentor, because he just dreams so big and I fucking love it. And like, he doesn't see the problems in you that you see. So he's just like, well, of course you can do it. And actually, that's exactly what I'm like with my clients. I'm like, why can't you? You know, I had someone come to me 18 months ago and was like, oh, my husband said I couldn't do a marathon. Like he almost spat his tea out when I said I'd entered the ballot for London. And I was like, you're fucking doing it. You are absolutely doing it. She was like, what if I don't get in? I was like, you probably won't, but we'll find a charity. And that is what she did. And now she's running, you know, half marathons. And yeah, she's like now a keen runner, which is just amazing. But possibilities massively are endless. And there is that side of Coaching Club. And I want to help you to break free from the shackles that fucking hold you in the one place. And, you know, the way that you see your life as being this way and only this way. Like, I want to help you see that that's not true. I want to help you to realize that you're not stuck at a size 16. You're not stuck at a size 20, whatever. You're not stuck with the boundaries that you don't have at work. You're not stuck with your children walking all over you. You're not stuck. Like, I want to help you with that. And fundamentally, people come to me for fat loss, right? But there are so many things that come around that. But why I have evolved Coaching Club to what it is today, this is morbid. So if you're feeling a bit triggered today, like come back to this another time. But it's basically like I've seen a lot of people die in my life, a lot of people who mean so much to me. And it wasn't in a quick period of time, but definitely as I've got older and I've done so much like reflection, I work with a therapist every month, and I'm a really deep thinker, like I said at the beginning. I'm just like, whoa, life is so short. It is so short. And the one that really was, excuse the pun, but the nail in the coffin for me was when my stepdad died. Like, so he was literally the person for my mum. And after what my mum has been through with my siblings' dad and then my dad, fucking hell, she really deserved someone that was just like wholeheartedly like loving her. And that's what he was. They were just fucking so good together. Like, my favorite picture of them is in my sister and her partner's house when Rudy was still a baby, I think. And they're both like wiping the tears from under their eyes because they're pissing themselves laughing. Like, that's just what they were like. They were just absolute wollies together. So anyway, he died in 2018, which was fucking great. And yeah, it still gets me emotional today. It's fucking mad. Just 2 seconds. And they were waiting to go and do like Route 66 in America, like at a later point in life. And a big part of Coaching Club is helping you to stop holding yourself back and waiting, because we don't know how fucking long life is going to be. We might not get to retirement. And I don't want to be morbid, like I say, but I think sometimes, and like actually some of the people that I respect the most have they have great awareness of their mortality. And that isn't that they walk around all day going, fucking hell, I'm going to die tomorrow, I'm going to die tomorrow. It's not that. It's just fucking seize the fucking moment. Like, you don't like your partner, or it just something isn't right and it's tanking your energy. Like, get out. You feel unhappy of being the shape that you are, the energy that you have. Do something. Stop spending your money getting fucking Shein orders and takeaways all the time and invest in yourself. And I'm not saying this to come to me. I don't care who you work with. Go work with one of my mentors if you want, like Kieran or AJ, and look at your health. Like, do something to get you out of your stuck state. Because I actually saw a post on Facebook yesterday, this guy from Shrewsbury who's been diagnosed, I think, with lymphoma. Is it lymphoma? It's some sort of cancer. And then he posted a bit later on and it was like, oh guys, it's actually looking to be worse than what I originally thought it was going to be. And like, he's not much older than I am. And it's like, every time I see stuff like that, it just pulls me back into, how can I help and empower more women to make the changes that they need to make so that they can truly live their life. And if like, this links back to me and why I do what I do. I train to push myself. I train to reach my potential. Like, I train, I fucking graft, right? I really do. And a lot of that is because I want to reach forwards. I want to propel, right? But a bit of it is also, I want freedom. Like, if I'm going to be late for a bus that's going to get me to a date and I don't want to be late for the date, I'll fucking sprint for that bus because I've got the capacity to. Yes, I'll rock up like a sweaty mess, but what's that saying? If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. That applies here, right? So, and like, think about it in your life. Where are you being held back? Because a journey of personal development, fitness, health, mindset is going to help you to unlock those doors. And that's why we do CC. Yes, I can help you I've lost. We've had 2 people that I spoke to last week who've lost 22 pounds since January. I fucking help you lose weight fast and easy, you know? And for some people, it does take a bit longer. If you've got loads of intertwined dieting beliefs that fucking destroy you emotionally and you've got so much shame around dieting, we have to go slowly. And if you want to go fast, keep going to Cambridge, keep going to diets and send yourself further backwards. Because can you see how, you know, people want fast, but they're actually going slower because they're not actually getting anywhere. Lose 6 stone to gain 6 stone is back at the same fucking place, bro. Whereas if you're losing, I don't know, £3 a month or every 2 months, it's staying off. Yo, we got fucking progress and we're not reversing. And you're still enjoying your favorite foods and not just eating dust for a fucking, I was going to say for a living then, but you're not just eating dust all day. So apologies for the tears. I always gets me. And I think that's why I Coaching Club means so much to me. And when I come onto these podcasts, when I write my emails, like that is always the forefront of my mind. How can I fucking help you to get to the rocking chair age when we're 85, we're sat there with a gin and tonic together, or a Kia Royale if it's me. And I go, so whatever your name is, how have you got here with no regrets? And like, don't get me wrong, there will be certain things that you regret, or that you can look back at your former self and go, fucking hell. Like I used to take a load of drugs and I'm like, Jesus, what is that? Like, oh, how many brain cells have I lost there? How many years of my life have I lost, you know? But we can't change that going backwards. And I don't regret it because I know it all happened for a reason, but it's not one of my proudest moments. And I imagine if from this point now, you could wake up, you could put yourself first, and you could really be aware of your mortality without going super paranoid about it, and just say yes to things that serve you more and no to things that don't. Imagine that. So anyway, team, I'd love to know your thoughts on that, because that went very different to how I thought it was going to go. And obviously it's a very different type of podcast compared to the ones that we've been doing recently. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Next week, I'm going to talk to you all about period health, training around your cycle, and helping you to understand a little bit more. Like, I'm not an expert in this at all. I'm going to give you the very little information that I have just to help you with it. And a lot of it will be around managing expectations, like I've said about today, but it will be insightful if you don't really have that much knowledge around it, or you just need some reminders. So have an incredible rest of your day. Please don't forget to give this a share. All my love. See you soon.